Guys, Chris here, Simply Japanese Maples. We're gonna do a quick little walkthrough here today and just talk about a few trees in the nursery here. Haven't done a lot of videos lately because it's been super hot and just kind of taking care of the trees and some other business. Still selling trees, but anyways, let's do a quick little walkthrough and have a look at some of the trees. This is a Nabashidari, a 2-gallon. A Nabashidari is one of the reds that holds really well, even with some shade. Red Dragon would be another. Here's Bronze Age. This is a really cool tree. A newer Shirasawanum introduction. Here's another Shirasawanum Myrt. Very vigorous. Nice leaves. Here's a Watnong for anyone that has a Watnong. Now this is a Watnong. This one greens out a lot more readily. Now in the summer, out in the sun, it's going to be very pink, very pinky red. But you give it more shade and you're going to get very green. And if you got a little bit of mix in between, you might get a little bit of everything. So Baldsmith is similar, Chantilly Lace is similar. Here's a Trompenberg, great medium to large size specimen tree, big rounded shaped tree. Really cool red burgundy leaves, and they look great when you're down below the canopy looking up. A little darker in here right now, but very cool. Besides that is a larger upright grower, Fascination. Love these heavily, deeply divided leaf lobes. That's a cool one, Fascination. Classic Crimson Queen, Dissectum. This is one that prefers a bit more afternoon shade. We look at here, here's an Orium. I believe this one is Suma Beni. Yeah, Suma Beni. It's got little, they're faded now, but it's got the little tips of the leaves get dipped in red earlier in the year. Another large upright grower is Yasmin. This one can be over 30 feet tall. Eventually, it's got this burgundy red color, bright red leaf petioles here, the stems. Here's a Fire Glow. I've got a bunch of those in 2-gallon pots. You can see there's a bit of sun damage here. That's going to happen, guys, when they're in pots when the sun gets really hot. We've had hot temperatures here. Same with Shishigashira over here. It's tough to get away from that. Here's one bonsai folks love, Arakawa. Look at the bark on this. That corky bark. Really great leaf shape and color throughout the year as well. Here's a Ryusin, heavily cascading tree. Looks like this one over here. Some of the shoots on this are like 24 inches long this year. You can see that very heavy cascading form. That's Ryusin. Goshiki Kotohime. Put on quite a bit of branching here this year. This is all new. Densely layered leaf habit. Really cool. Fairly small leaves. I mean, these are the older ones. These are the newer ones. Here's Ever Autumn, which is a cross with a vine maple, Acer circinatum. And there's no newer leaves right now, but when the new leaves pop out, they're orangey colored, hence the name Ever Autumn. Here is a medium to large upright red, and that's Emperor 1, a classic, very red, stays red all summer long basically. Kind of like your blood goods, but smaller, about 15 feet tall. Speaking of taller ones, Osakazuki, look at the leaves on these are beautiful. This is one, as you probably know, super red in the fall, one of the most brilliant. Has this cool green. That's what I love about this one, it has green. The earlier part of the year, first half of the year, and then it gets red seeds, which kind of add extra interest, and then it goes to that brilliant red in the fall. So super, super cool. And this one actually looks a bit like it, but smaller. This is harvest orange. Has similar shaped leaves, but like less than half the size, so really interesting. And then has an orange fall color. That's a BC introduction, folks. Here's Nicholsoni. This is a very old variety. Now this one actually stays really red, except I think in pots, when it starts to get super hot, it then gets all washed out. Whereas I have one in the ground and it's still very, very red. A lot more like this and actually darker. Oh, look at the new leaves on Takinagawa. It's a Japonicum. If you don't know it, all Japonicums have brilliant fall colors, reds, orange, yellows. And that is really special. This is a broad, wide growing tree. Sister Ghost, this is one takes a lot of sun and still keeps on looking amazing. If you don't know it, most of your ghost, aka reticulated varieties, the ones you can see the veining on, they want protection from the afternoon sun generally. Amber Ghost might be one exception, but most of them need some protection to keep that, that look, prevent from burning. So you can see like it's reddened on the top here. This is a nebula, but then if you go down lower, you can see it still has that reticulated look with more of the pinky red interior to the leaf, and again has a bit of a suntan up here. So these trees are all under 55% shade. So some of them hold their color really well, their look throughout the year, like Frosted Purple, for example, or Amagi Shigur, which has this beautiful purpley, what do you call that? Purpley lavender, just fabulous. Whereas others, like Blonde Beauty, or the nebula we just showed you, can get more, I guess, washed out, more burnt. Mikazuki looks pretty good. Had an awesome pink for a long time this year. Here's a Sagara Nishiki, this yellow, rare yellow and green variegated. Pretty small little guy, but it's trying. Let's pop out of the greenhouse, see what else we can find here. Here's a larger Hub's Red Willow. This is a vigorous growing strap leaf. If you want a red burgundy strap leaf, it almost has the blood good color, but in that strap leaf form. That's grown really fast. It's probably doubled in size since last year, this particular one. Here's Geisha Gone Wild. As you can see, it looks very, very similar to Shiraz, and the reason is they both came off the same plant in different countries and were virtually named at the same time. Red Dragon, another one that holds its color well in more shade. We've got some 2-gallon fire glows. Oh, here's a fairy hair. Here's our Trompenberg again, a bit more red when you get that sun on it. You can see that. Here's Nurasagi. Look how dark, reddy purple this is. So I think the more shade it gets, the darker it gets. You can say the same thing about Burgundy Lace. You give it more shade, it's going to be a lot darker. It's going to have that burgundy color. Again, that's Nurasagi. This is a nice one for narrow but tall. Small little greened up Shirazes in 1 gallons. Probably sell those later in the summer. Here's an Emmett's Pumpkin. Short-lived, but absolutely electric orange fall color. Highly recommend. Needs a spot where you can have protection from the hot afternoon sun. Look at the color on and the bark on Kawahari no Midori. Very cool. One of the coral bark trees with that bright green bark. Here's Seiyun Kaku. This is a great little substitute and a faster growing substitute for Macao Yatsubusa. You can see it has a similar heavily layered leaf habit. Got a bunch of these available. Waterfall, classic, Ukigumo. Here's smaller Hub's red willow. So like all our trees, the younger trees, they start off, they kind of go up straight, and then they start to widen out the older they get. And that's all perfectly normal. It's not unique to Japanese maples. That's just what trees do. They're up there reaching for the sun, and then they start to widen out, typically. Here's a sunset. So this is a tree that's really, really orangey and red in full sun, and then in shade, it's going to be very green, very, very green. So really cool tree that you could use in different spaces and kind of get the color that you want out of that. Here's a little dwarf ginkgo. This is called Spring Grove. Here's another oh, this is Rite of Spring. This is a good one for red in a narrow space, smaller tree.